Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to XJW Diaries. My name is Justin. So, back when I was going through my own process of waking up and leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses, I would spend a lot of time watching XJW videos, even while I was at work at a company owned by Jehovah's Witnesses. It was worth it to me because it was very helpful to me. Whether it was Borean Pickett's, JW Critical Thoughts, XJW Fit, the Shun podcast, the list goes on. All of these videos really helped me to break through those early mental barriers, and they reminded me that I wasn't the only one going through this. But every now and then, I would go down to the comments section and I would see somebody who was clearly still a Jehovah's Witness or perhaps a Jehovah's Witness apologist. And these people would post comments like, "Why can't you apostates just move on with your life? Why do you feel the need to speak out against Jehovah's Witnesses? Why are you apostates so bitter?" And now years later, with my own videos, I see some of those same comments come across from time to time. And even though I know that some of those people are just trolls, just people trying to bully people away from speaking out against the witnesses, the fact is, they are fair questions. Why is it that some people, like myself, go through all this trouble of recording and editing and going through this whole process to speak out against the Jehovah's Witnesses? And why is it that some XJWs, long after leaving the witnesses, hold resentment towards the organization? So since we're on the subject of speaking out against the witnesses, I think it's kind of funny. Back when I was a witness, I heard a lot about persecution. And if you were a witness for any length of time, I'm sure you can back me up on this. They talk about it a lot. How people will hate you just for speaking out what they call the truth. How people will hate you just because of your beliefs. But you know what? My entire time as a witness, I never experienced that. Sure, I had some people who were less than thrilled on an early Saturday morning to see me at their door when they're trying to enjoy their breakfast. I can't blame them for that. But other than that, I never experienced people hating me personally just for my beliefs or just for speaking. Until I started doing this. Until I left the witnesses, started doing this channel and speaking out against the witnesses. Then, for the first time, I have experienced some amount of persecution. I have for the first time experienced people hating me personally just for speaking out. People hating me personally just for changing my beliefs. Pretty interesting. So with all that being said, you got to ask even more. Why do this? Why speak out against the Jehovah's Witnesses when you know that you're going to attract hate towards yourself? And to go a step further, why would a guy like me speak out against the Jehovah's Witnesses? Normally, I keep to myself, I handle my business, and I keep it moving. It is not at all in my normal nature to sit in front of a camera, record myself, and then blast myself all over the internet. So again, you gotta ask, why do this? Why go through all this trouble to speak out against the Jehovah's Witnesses? So above all else, I do this to help people in the same way that I was helped. Because leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses is such a unique experience, and it can feel very isolating and lonely. And I know for me, it was very helpful and very comforting to see that I wasn't the only one going through this. And it was even more helpful and more comforting to see that other people had gone through it and they had come out on the other side okay. Because the Watchtower drills into your head that if you leave their organization, you will not be okay. Now, of course, not every video is going to appeal to everybody, but trust me when I say, every single video, including this one, is made for the purpose of helping somebody out there. Helping somebody to not feel alone and to feel some comfort and to feel some hope for themselves when it feels like their entire world is falling apart. So another reason I do this is because I believe that everybody has the right to knowledge. But when you're a Jehovah's Witness, a lot of the knowledge that you should have every right to is blocked from you and suppressed. For example, every Jehovah's Witness should have the right to know what's inside of the Elder's Manual. But most Jehovah's Witnesses who are not elders have no idea that that book even exists. They have no idea that some of their donation money is being used to produce a book called Shepherd the Flock of God. They have no idea. And they also have no idea that that same book is being used by elders to determine the outcome of judicial committees. In the real world, if you break a rule, you have access to the very same law books that every lawyer or judge uses. So you have the ability to make sure that you were judged fairly. But in the witnesses, you have no access to their law book. In fact, you didn't even know it exists. Another more major example is, of course, the Jehovah's Witnesses' issues with child abuse, which most Jehovah's Witnesses have no idea is going on. Most Jehovah's Witnesses have no idea that is an issue going on worldwide in the organization, at all levels in the organization. Most Jehovah's Witnesses have no idea that some of their donation money is being used towards legal fees and being used towards giving out hefty settlements in the multi-million-dollar range. But of course, information like this is hidden from Jehovah's Witnesses. And anybody that does discover it and dares talk about it, they are pushed out and shunned, silenced, so that they cannot expose that truth to more people. Another reason I speak out is to get this information out to people who have never been Jehovah's Witnesses. Because to your average person, witnesses are just people that come to your door and they don't celebrate holidays. Most people have no idea about the deeper levels of this organization. To most people, it's just another religion. But the more people that know about this stuff, the more people that will be a step ahead when the witnesses come knocking on their door. That way, they too won't get swept into this mess. And to take it a step further, many kingdom halls are built near schools and in neighborhoods. So I think people have a right to know what's going on inside of that building and how what's going on can affect them and their family. Because due to the Jehovah's Witnesses policies, it is a very real possibility that the witness who is knocking on your door is a known pedophile. Another reason I speak out is to give people some hope that no matter how bad things are right now, no matter how confusing things are, no matter how it feels like your life is falling apart, you will be okay. And that's definitely important to me because I can clearly remember times during my own journey of leaving the witnesses when I really felt like I was not going to be okay. Looking back, to me at that point, it really felt like my life was over. It felt like everything that I knew was being destroyed, crumbling around me, and there was nothing I could do other than return to the Watchtower, which I was not going to do. It led me to some very deep depression, and in some cases, even suicidal thoughts. I don't think anybody should have to feel that way, should have to feel that low, just because they want to change their beliefs. And if I could prevent even one person from having to feel like that, mission accomplished. And my hope for you is that not only do you end up okay, but you end up far better than okay. I hope that you end up with a life that you cannot even imagine for yourself right now. So lastly, for the people out there that say that we need to just move on, well, I would say that another big reason of why I speak out is because I have moved on. And I have the goal of helping other people to be able to free themselves and move on. This is why you often hear me talk about the subject of mental conditioning. Because the more you identify the ways that you have been mentally conditioned, the easier it is to free yourselves from that conditioning so you can truly move on from the Watchtower to the point where you're not thinking about the Watchtower 24/7. Because I don't know about you, but for me, I didn't leave the witnesses just to keep thinking about the witnesses all the time. This is part of the reason why I only work on videos every other week. That way, when I'm not doing this, I can free my mind and think about other things, rather than walking around my house being angry about the Watchtower. So those are some of the core reasons of why I choose to speak out. And if there's anybody out there that would like to speak out, but maybe you don't want to go through the trouble of setting up your own channel and recording and editing and getting all the software and all that stuff, as long as you can speak respectfully, you are more than welcome to be a guest on here to share your story and help others. So that answers the first question of why speak out against the Jehovah's Witnesses. But now we got to answer the second question. The question of why are some EXJWs resentful towards the organization? Or as the Watchtower would put it, in their words, why are apostates so bitter? Now that's a question that can take all day to answer because there's so many reasons, as many of you know. So I'll just pick my top 3. You guys can drop a comment below. Let us know what your reasons are. So easily number 1 for me would be the shunning policy. That is a cruel policy that should not exist in the modern world, especially when the Watchtower pressures very young children to get baptized, scaring them into thinking that they will die at Armageddon and not make it into paradise if they do not, let's call it what it is, commit themselves to a man-made corporation. Just the other day, I heard about an 8-year-old who got baptized. The Watchtower is pushing young children to make an adult-sized commitment. And when these children grow up into adults, if they decide to go down a different path, then the Watchtower then punishes these adults for the choice that they made as a child. It makes no sense. How can you call yourselves loving when the shunning policy has nothing to do with love or what's in a person's heart and everything to do with conditions and appearances? As long as a person keeps the appearance of being a Jehovah's Witness, even if their heart is full of darkness and corruption, even if behind closed doors they are abusive and cruel, even if they don't fully believe in the Bible or what the Watchtower teaches, no matter how evil this person truly is, as long as that person keeps showing up for meetings and following what the Watchtower says and giving others the impression that they are a good little publisher, they are considered okay. But on the other hand, a person who decides to leave the Jehovah's Witnesses, but they have a good heart, they are honest, loving, caring, the kind of person who is truly trying to be the best person they can be, to a Jehovah's Witness, that person would be shunned. With the majority of EXJWs having been on the receiving end of that policy, I think they have every right to feel bitter towards the organization. Number 2 is the mental conditioning. For me, it's been 5 years since I've stepped foot in a Kingdom Hall. But even after 5 years, even after getting counseling and reading countless books, basically rebuilding myself from the ground up, I still every now and then find little inklings of JW programming still floating around in my head. The programming goes deep, especially if you were raised as a witness from a child. The way they molded our whole reality while also keeping us too afraid to look outside was nothing short of abusive. And like a typical abuser, the Watchtower trained us to feel low. We were never doing enough, never fully worthy of God's love, always coming up short of what their idea of a perfect witness should be. And since every EXJW has been manipulated and used in that same way, I think they have every right to feel bitterness towards the organization. Number 3 is the lost time and lost dreams. If you watch my channel long enough, you probably heard me say many times that your time is your most valuable asset. That's the one currency that you can spend, but you can never earn it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. But the Watchtower did not have anywhere near that same level of respect for our time. And they didn't just stop at our time, they also required us to give up on our hopes and dreams. As Jehovah's Witnesses, we were taught to keep ourselves small, taught to not seek out anything substantial for ourselves in this world. And so a lot of people gave up on their biggest dreams to devote more time to the Watchtower. And while I definitely believe that it is never too late at all to live happily ever after, I also know that realistically, there's some opportunities that once they're gone, they're gone. So for anybody out there that's wondering why speak out against the Jehovah's Witnesses, or wondering why some EXJWs feel resentment towards the organization, now you have a few reasons why. And let me just reiterate again, this is not about spreading hate, it's about spreading awareness. And so in connection with that, I just have to really express my appreciation and my gratitude to all of you that have been watching this channel and supporting this work. People that have liked the videos, especially people that have subscribed, and even the people out there that cannot subscribe because you're trying to stay on the down low, trying not to get caught watching apostate content. To all of you, I truly, truly, truly thank you, because you guys are helping to get these videos out there to more and more people. And perhaps there's a chance that maybe not today, maybe not even this month, maybe not even this year, but sometime, somewhere, there will be someone who's exposed to this content for the first time. And that person will finally have the chance to free themselves from this organization and claim their life back. So with that being said, I just want to once again thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. It is valuable. I appreciate you spending it here with me. Stay tuned. I got more on the way. And take it easy on yourselves. Peace.